Happy Saturday, guys, and thanks so much for tuning into the PHNX Sun Devils show brought to you by the Draft.
That's a weird way to start a loss post game.
Sorry, man. It is a happy Saturday, okay?
I
know how it went. Okay,
Texas
it is what
lost.
it is. It is what it is.
ASU lost.
Thank you guys again.
University of Buffalo
PHNX Sun Devils show brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe, even leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Anthony Notre, joined as always. Shawn to my right, Shane Diefenbach to my left. It is time for a walk of shame, ladies and gentlemen, because ASU unable to mount the comeback and pull off the upset against number 11 Oklahoma State. Final score 34-17. Gentlemen, what'd you see?
Slop. Just a bunch of slob. I don't know. I mean, look, we'll get into the positivities because there were a lot of positives.
Yeah.
But obviously we got to wallow in our self-pity for a bit. The watch party was a blast, so thank you for everybody that came out.
I saw a lot of attendees.
That was a good time, but that wasn't the only good thing. There were a lot of good things from tonight, and I feel still pretty positive. A little angry, a little upset, a lot of mistakes that should not have happened.
Yeah,
but I feel okay.
Yeah, I feel okay. I feel like the players weren't exactly put in a position to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure we'll get to more later, but I was not exactly happy with the I feel like we talked a lot leading up to this about how vanilla it was against NAU and how we were going to see a little more flavor, and it was just a bunch more vanilla. So that part wasn't exactly fun. But yeah, it was the sloppiness is, like we said, ASU or Oklahoma State was too good of a team to make mistakes against, and they made too many of them. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to sum up this game is Spencer Sanders, who is known for making mistakes.
Yeah.
Has a lot of turnovers. We saw his performance last year in the game against Baylor that they lost. He almost overcame that. You have to be, but when a guy like that is perfect against you, except for a couple of mistakes, you have to capitalize. And there were a couple of mistakes that were capitalized on, but some that weren't. And that is the downfall of this game for sure. That's the biggest thing, is they just weren't able to capitalize on mistakes. And Oklahoma State was very much able to capitalize on Arizona State's mistakes.
Yeah. It just felt like Arizona State made more mistakes, right? Like you talked at the beginning of the week that this was a winnable game.
Yeah.
And I think we saw that throughout the game that ASU definitely had their chances to win. We'll get into the players and a little bit of the numbers. But before we do that, Shawn, you bring up, a point that I agree with 100%. It doesn't feel like the players were put in the best position to win, especially offensively.
Yeah, offensively.
For me, it felt like the play calling literally from the start of the game. Like, obviously, they had a few drives. That first drive in particular was really strong, and I think it was really exciting for ASU fans to see how quickly the Sun Devils could march down the field. But after that, it was just like head scratcher after head scratcher. There was so many stalled drives, and you can thank that because it felt like there was poor play calling. Like, there were times where they ran 2 play action passes in a row, and then they'd run it on third down when it was like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4. And it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like they were utilizing their players correctly.
They weren't utilizing one player correctly, specifically. He played to keep the game
close.
close.
In the chat saying, you play to keep the game close.
I liked what Wannikin said. Like, we weren't exactly embarrassed, but it was embarrassing. Like,
yeah.
They didn't use Emery the right way at all.
I agree.
Like, I don't think they didn't use him really. Like, he had a good game, but he didn't pass nearly as much as I think he could have, and he didn't run nearly as much as I think he could have. It seemed like they were going to live and die by Xavier, which, who played amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously Elijah Badger had a great game, but didn't see as much of like Messiah Swinson in the middle as we wanted, not as much Charles Hall as that we hoped. It wasn't nothing about what they did offensively, unless Xavier did something exciting, was exciting.
Yeah. I still feel good about Jones too. Wayne again. I think Emery played well, but Joe brings up a good point. Herm putting the brakes on yet another OC. It kind of felt like that. You saw some creativity. Not really to start the game. It was just our offensive line was dominating. Like that's what they were saying. Our offensive line is better than you guys, and they weren't most of the game. But for the first drive, they were. But then it kind of felt like we were talking about Glenn most of the night. We're like, what's Glenn doing? How much does Herm have his hand in the cookie jar? Because it's a reoccurring theme. Like last year, it felt like there was some creativity, but not enough. And when they needed it the most, they couldn't step in the throat. I remember Soelle at the watch party was talking about, why doesn't this team go for the throat? They're up 3-0, they have the ball, and they want to play conservative. 3 and out, like, quick runs. And yeah, maybe it was working. I made this comparison earlier in the night that it did feel like when a bad shooter starts getting hot, you're like, okay, fine, they can keep shooting. It'll eventually fizzle out, and it fizzled out very fast. They thought the run was going to keep working, and it didn't.
Yeah. And this is an offense that's not built to come from behind.
Yeah.
Like, you're down 17 with 7 minutes to go, and it's 1st and 10, and you're running the football. Like, I get it. I get your best offensive player is Xavier Valade, and you want to feed him the rock. But at a certain point, you have to turn Emery loose.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's not like it's like you said, Emery wasn't having a bad game. We mentioned it before the show even started. Emery had a better quarterback rating tonight than Spencer Sanders. He only completed 12 passes. He was 12 of 24 for 223, a touchdown in that 141 quarterback rating, which is much higher than what it was last week against NAU. So, like, there were some throws out there tonight that were just unbelievable. That he would put, you mentioned it, like, he would put it on a dime in between coverage in the rain.
Yeah. There were a couple of times, though, like, I understand, like, how much Herm might be handicapping Glenn, but, like, at the end of the day, presumably Glenn's the one calling the plays.
Yeah.
And, like, there were a couple of times where we were like, why are they doing back-to-back play action plays? Like, there was a couple of times where the actual play calls were questionable too. So, like,
well, yeah, but we don't know what if Herm has stake in that. Herm might be calling some plays. Herm might be overriding. That's what Joe's saying. It's not Glenn, it's Herm. Lycan, Zach Hill, and now Glenn Thomas. Like,
it is what it is. Let's get into the numbers. A little bit more of a broader look at what went down in Stillwater tonight. Obviously, the final score 34-17 in favor of the Cowboys. You look at those passing numbers. Spencer Sanders did outgun Emory Jones. It was 268 to 223. On the ground, this kind of surprises me when I first saw it, but Oklahoma State outrushed ASU 197 to 131. And then the penalties in the third down, man. Like, these are numbers that you're shooting yourself in the foot against a really good team on their field. You're just not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this goes back to what Wannikin said about, like, they weren't embarrassed, but it was embarrassing. Like, when you look at, like, the pass and the rush yards, like, they were relatively close. It is a little odd because, like, I agree with you. I would have expected Oklahoma State's pass yards to be significantly more than ASU's and their rush yards to be closer, if not less.
Yeah, they just didn't need to.
Yeah, but, like, the penalties and the third down is brutal. Like, they didn't convert a third down until, like, midway through the third quarter? Yeah. Like, it was late in
toward
the game.
The end of the third.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. And then some of the calls, I will say, were, like, a little questionable, but
yeah,
there were times, like, you would, like, it was Moore, right? It was Joe Moore that pushed Spencer Sanders after, like, for no reason. And it's like, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Penalties came at the end of the game, though. We were driving on the way to the studio, but I was watching on my car while stopped at red lights. And it was 3rd and 10. There were 2 really bad calls. One, roughing the passer that was just not roughing the passer, and then a pass interference that was just not pass interference.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because they committed way too many penalties to even deserve to gripe about that. There was nothing to do with the referees tonight. I think that the biggest, like, oh my God moment was Oklahoma State now has a starting running back. Dominic Richardson was one of the best players, if not the best player on the field. I think he was better than Spencer Sanders at times. I mean, the dude finished with 130 rushing yards, and it wasn't even close. The offensive line was giving him holes, but he was breaking tackles. And it wasn't like a shoestring tackle. Like, he was throwing Kyle Soelle to the ground multiple times. He broke out of Merlin's tackles, which I haven't seen anyone break out of Merlin's grasp in a minute. Like, I would be so pissed if I was planning ASU's defense. Like, okay, the run game's okay, not great. Obviously, 40 whatever yards against CMU last week. Not really expecting much. Let's game plan around Spencer Sanders. And then 3 straight drives, you're like, oh my God, they are running the ball down our throats, and we did not prepare for this. It just felt ill prepared at moments. It
didn't feel like, watching the game, looking back at the numbers, it didn't feel like Dominic Richardson carried the ball 27 times.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the carries, no. The yards, yes, but the carries, no.
Which is crazy. He almost had 30.
He got a lot more carries toward the end of the game, but yes, that 27 is a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, let's put up the numbers one more time, because there is one thing that I do want to bring up in terms of those penalties. You know how many of those 10 penalties were committed by the defense?
8.
9.
Yeah.
Jeez.
9 of those 10 penalties came on the defensive side of the ball. And you can't do that against a guy like Spencer Sanders, because he's going to beat you. He's going to find ways to beat you. He's been there far too long. He's in this environment, and he's got the best receiver in the Big 12. Like, you can't shoot yourself in the foot and expect to win these games. It's just time and time again. And Herm talked about it, like, at the start of the season, that penalties were such a big issue last year for this team. and it costs them how many games, right? You can't do this. That was their issue when they played BYU last year, right? What was some ridiculous, like 16 penalties, something stupid. They brought up the graphic on the broadcast that ASU last year was third in the FBS in committed penalties. It felt like nothing changed.
Well, it felt like the defense is the one doing it now. A lot was false starts on offense and dumb stuff after plays on offense. I mean, the good amount was dumb stuff on defense as well. But, now the tables have turned. Waynigan says we've cleaned up penalties on defense. You pick up right where you left off on defense now. You clean up on offense, rather. I don't know. It sucks, and I hope this isn't. I hope it was a lot of frustration, and it's just it's something that you just have to think about. Why is Herm Edwards' team, especially with 51 new guys, still doing this? Do they just not care? Is this not something they talk about? Is this the type of school where guys go to commit penalties? Like
it's just undisciplined.
It's weird because you don't expect that from an NFL coach. You play conservative and you coach aggressive. Like what where's the sense here? But the biggest thing for me on defense is, the third down numbers, 2 for 13 for ASU, not good at all. 6 for 15 is okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of those first downs that they picked up on third down were because of penalties.
Yeah.
I think 2 or 3 of them, and that can't happen.
Yeah.
We saw it multiple times in the game. I think three first downs on third down because of penalties, and not third and shorts, like third and 10s.
Yeah. Diego in the chat brings up an interesting point. He says, I hope this shows the team that they're not far from being a top 15 team. Hey,
I don't think this team has lack of confidence.
No, and they hung around. They were leading. It felt like if they weren't shooting themselves in the foot, this is a much different game.
I think the game was closer than the score looks like.
Yeah.
They should have covered.
They were around the whole time.
They should have covered.
Yeah.
It was rough, man.
Could have been.
It was rough, but we brought it up earlier. If you were out at the Four Peaks watch party, it was a lot of fun. That TV was absolutely insane. He said 22 feet, right? It was a 22-foot like projector screen.
Like 18 toe trees.
I'm not that. That's like a foot and a half, bro.
Oh,
I'm not a foot and a half tall, dude. Oh my gosh. If you missed out on this one, there's definitely going to be plenty more watch parties at Four Peaks. So you'll have a chance to go see that giant projector, to watch the ASU game. Hopefully they'll win the next one. That would make it even more fun than it was. But while we're talking about Four Peaks, you guys do have time to still enter the Toast of the Month sweepstakes to win a $50 Four Peaks gift card, a PHNX shirt of your choice, and a PHNX annual membership. Go to gophnx.com or click on the link in the show notes. You do got to be 21 or older and enjoy responsibly. Let's get to bottle service, because despite there being a lot of penalties, ASU losing the turnover differential, there were a lot of great performances tonight. Yeah. Specifically, the man of the hour, Kyle Soelle. 16 total tackles in INT and 8 solo tackles. He had 10 more total tackles than anybody else on the ASU roster. Shane, what'd you see from 34 tonight?
Command, like just playing cool, capitalization, and I'm not talking punctuation or whatever, grammar. I don't know. He was really good. And he capitalized on one of Spencer Sanders' few mistakes on the night. Spencer Sanders thought he had one of his receivers or tight ends open on a seam route. He did not. Captain America capitalized on that. And that should have been the turning point for ASU, but unfortunately they had their own turning point just a few moments later. I don't know. He was really good. He was one of the few bright spots on this defense because the defensive line wasn't getting home. Nesta was pretty good at plugging up holes, but second
on the team in total tackles tonight.
I thought the secondary was okay, and we'll get into the entire defense. But yeah, from Kyle Soelle, he was great.
Yeah. I mean,
he did get stiff armed a couple times, and it was brutal. He got trucked also.
Yeah, he did get trucked one time.
Yeah, I mean, he's Captain America. Like, I mean, when we mentioned it, he's got 2 interceptions already this season. Like, he just took advantage of, like Shane said, the one mistake, one of the few mistakes that Sanders made.
That is the script of Joe.
Yeah. Joe in the chat saying, but can he keep his feet instead of curling into a fetus and picks?
He does love to do that. This one was more of a diving effort, though.
Yeah. So this is an athletic play.
But the one against NAU, I agree. He caught it and then just kind of rolled over.
I don't know, man. Kyle Soelle, it's no surprise that he is the captain of this defense and arguably the most important captain of the team. Obviously, a guy who's been here such a long time. He played a giant role tonight. It wasn't enough. And I feel like although he didn't commit any penalties tonight, but there is some blame. There is some blame for a captain on the defense when you do have guys, 9 of those 10 penalties falling on the defense, and a lot of those were from the secondary. So a little bit of that does fall on you, but he did have a great game tonight. Before we get into some of the guys that maybe we would like to see a little bit more from, I know you want to talk about Elijah Badger because he had a hell of a game tonight. 6 catches, 93 yards, and obviously that touchdown.
He has spidey senses. He knows where defenders are.
He's him.
And I'm not talking about like finding open space in the field when he's running routes because he is good at that. I'm talking when he catches, if there is a defender and he could be coming right or left, he will go the opposite way every single time. My man is shifty. He runs intelligent out there, and he was just great tonight. I mean, he was the leading receiver on this team. He had the most catches.
Most targets.
Like this was a connection that I knew it was going to eventually come, and I had been talking about it for literally 8 months now. I didn't know what quarterback it would come from, but now we know it is Emory Jones, and it looks damn good. So hopefully they can get more help. Andre Johnson, where were you?
Yeah.
Literally, where did he catch a pass?
No.
Did he play? I saw him out
Only
there.
3 receivers caught a pass tonight. The other.
But when you only throw 24 passes, I mean, that will happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was great in limited. Can you imagine if they started running 4 wide, 5 wide? They started airing it out in the second half.
I just don't know if they're
My man
that
would have
deep.
gone for 180 yards, and that's not even cap.
Yeah, I would like to see them throw a little bit more from the gun. I feel like sometimes they rely too much.
Even if it's not from the gun, like go 4 wide with a single back and just bomber.
Yeah.
Play action, load it up, 4 verts.
I feel like
Why
they
not?
don't utilize Ngata a whole lot either. I feel like I'd like to see him a little bit more on passing downs. Like I know from talking to him that he doesn't want to be known as a 3rd down running back. Like he wants to be that 3-down guy. But like with his quickness, like out of the backfield in terms of like a screenplay or an angle route or just something, like I feel like he needs the ball more, man.
Yeah, I mean, I also just like for Xavier's sake, like I don't want to get to a point later in the year where he's been run into the ground. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen that Ngata is a very capable rusher. Like he makes plays when given the opportunity. I would like to see.
He also had some really good blocks tonight.
Yeah. So I would like to see just them cycle through them a little bit more, and keep Xavier's legs fresher for the length of the season, and then he can hopefully be more explosive. But yeah, I would agree. I think I would like to see Ngata more.
Okay, let's talk about some of the guys that maybe we'd like to see a little bit more from, especially going up against a pass-heavy offense like Oklahoma State, and they all fall in the secondary. Roe Torrance had a couple bad penalties tonight. Tamarcus Davis had some penalties, and Jordan Clark had a dropped interception that would have been just absolutely huge going forward. What was it about the secondary tonight that just kind of felt like they went missing at times, or they shot themselves in the foot more than anybody else tonight?
It was the same thing as the offense. I think they were playing way too conservative. There wasn't enough man. There was a lot of keep everything in front of you.
Yes.
And
Very soft zone.
What did I say at the start of this week? You don't want to allow the receivers to get into space.
Yeah.
And even they would wrap up. The secondary wrapped up a good amount tonight.
Yeah.
There were not a lot of missed tackles. But when you're allowing 8-yard out routes the whole game, you're in trouble. When you're allowing a 9-yard hitch all game, you're in trouble. It soft zones. But when they were tested, they held up. I thought they played pretty well tonight.
Yeah.
I just think the play calling was too conservative. And again, we know Donnie's not a conservative guy.
Yeah.
When things don't go well, he doesn't get conservative.
And Herm said that. Herm has said that Donnie is not shy to just say, fuck the sheet. We're gonna be aggressive. We're gonna go totally off schedule. And I told you that. I said maybe that's what Donnie has to do. Maybe that is how you beat a team like Oklahoma State in Stillwater, when your offense, quite frankly, couldn't put up points for a while.
Yeah, Roe had a couple bad penalties, but I thought he was really good. Tamarcus still definitely looked like he was getting back into it. And Jordan Clark, we didn't see him much. Well, I mean, he was on the field a lot, but we didn't hear his name called, which is good.
Yeah.
So I thought he was solid. Both the Markham twins had some really good plays as well.
Yeah.
I was talking to you guys about how Keon specifically used to get picked on. He was awesome tonight.
Yeah. I mean, the giving up, like just letting receivers get into space, like Notre had mentioned it while we were watching the game, just like the soft zone was just, it's just not it. But yeah, I agree. I don't think they were really put in a position to succeed. I mean, the Jordan Clark interception, like that would have been a hell of a play if he would have made
a great break on the ball.
Yeah, that would
He ran the route for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think like the penalties across the defense were like really what killed them. They played this team played well. Like it was like for the vast majority of that game, like this is now a team. This is a team. I had said it. I was like, I can't believe people thought that this team was going to win one game. They competed for most of this game with Oklahoma State. Like it's just they shot themselves in the foot a couple of times, and then again, like we said, they weren't really put in a position to succeed. So I don't really think you can look at anyone on the defense and be like, they played terribly. Like
I also think the biggest thing, and that might have turned Donnie and Herm off of blitzing, is every time they'd send an extra guy, they would never get home.
Yeah.
And that's always your hold your breath moment. I remember they sent Merlin a couple times, and you're like, please get home, and then he doesn't, and he gets picked up, and you're like, shit, how far is this going to go? How long is this going to go for? And yeah.
To kind of echo what you said, the one thing that worries me about that, right, is that like you mentioned there were a lot of people that only picked ASU to win maybe a game in conference.
Yeah.
My issue with that is because you brought up the penalties before that. They're like they're penalties away from competing in these games and making it like, you know, games that they can win or that will at least go to the last drive of the game. How many years in a row has that been the issue? How many years in a row have we said, you know what, if this team stops shooting themselves in the foot, they could be a really good team?
I'm saying, man, the common denominator.
Yeah.
And it comes back down to the coaching, man. Like, it comes down to the coaching. You could talk about the players. The coaches tonight, Glenn Thomas, Donnie Henderson, and Herm Edwards, got absolutely bullied by the opposing coaching staff tonight. And it wasn't close. Football is a game of adjustments. Oklahoma State made those adjustments, specifically in that second quarter, in that fourth quarter, right? Which is when you're going to see that. You're going to see those adjustments then. I believe Oklahoma State scored 14 points in that second quarter, right? And then they scored 17 or 14 in that fourth quarter. Like, and to ASU's what? 3 in the first, and then I don't know how many ASU scored in the fourth.
It was ASU scored 3 in the first, and then 7 in the third and fourth. Oklahoma State scored 17 in the second, 3 in the third, 14 in the fourth.
Yeah. Like, what that tells me is that ASU came out of the first quarter or came into the game with a great game plan, right? They scored. We saw it. We saw how fast that offense got moving, right? Second quarter comes along. Oklahoma State's coaching staff makes the adjustments. They stuff ASU. ASU's unable to do anything, okay? Herm makes adjustments at halftime. They come out at halftime. What do? They go down the field just like they did in the first quarter. They score. Yep. Okay, so what does Oklahoma State do? They make the adjustments at the end of the third quarter. They go on and score in the fourth and leave ASU short in the fourth. Like, just better coaching staff. That's what happened tonight. They got out-coached.
And yeah, Joe says, I don't think they have a sack, do they?
They do not. Nope. I just looked. They do not have.
Which is crazy because what was the strength of this team going into the year?
Well, what did we think the strength of the team is? I think the strength is now a little weakness in the secondary. The secondary, I still believe, played great tonight.
Yeah, I mean, awesome. Don't think the defense played bad. I don't think you can look at any, with the exception of obviously the penalties, I don't think you can look at any of these position groups and be like, that was weakness in the defense tonight. Like, they obviously didn't get any sacks, but like, I mean, if you had to choose one in the defensive line, but they weren't bad. And they were great against obviously a lesser opponent in NAU, but
yeah, it's a tough team.
Yeah.
Like, we brought it up. Like, this is not, yes, they lost, but Oklahoma State, like, is a good team. Mm-hmm. They are a top 15 team, a top 12 team for a reason.
I might throw some coin on them to make the college football playoff at this
Oklahoma
rate.
State.
Genuinely, just
Spencer Sanders is fucking good.
Well, he's good, and he's going to make mistakes. They'll probably lose a game and not make the college football playoff because of his mistakes. But if they rely on the running game more, I mean,
that offense,
Richardson
man,
is good.
I mean, Oklahoma's their only obstacle in that conference,
Texas
really.
Might be.
Well,
Texas looked good.
I mean,
Sorry,
we don't know what Quinn Ewers is going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he got hurt today.
Their backup didn't look horrible.
I mean, it's still Texas. Like, they're going to have 4 or 5-star recruits at every position, essentially. But
yeah, Joe says the defense was mid across the board, and yeah, I mean, the performance tonight was definitely mid, but individual talent.
Yeah,
like that's something we were talking about on the way here. The individual talent was not really lacking tonight.
Yeah, I think they were mid again because of the position they were put in.
I think the only individual talent that you could see there was a clear mismatch was on the offensive line and the defensive line. Like, their defensive line, I mean, obviously we knew coming into their defensive line is incredible, one of the best in the nation, if not the best. Like, they are so good, and ASU just couldn't hold them tonight, and that's why it still is just mind numbing that they ran the ball as much as they did. It just blows my mind after seeing plays get blown up.
There's just no adjustments,
over and
man.
over again. After X mishandled the snap or mishandled the handoff and then got blown up and fumbled, that should have been it. Then you should have gone to a more pass-heavy offense.
Yeah.
But the defense was mid, but only by play calling, I think. I still think this defense can be at what it was last year if the play calling gets better.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned you may throw a little coin on Oklahoma State, make college football playoff. Did any of you make any serious coin today on college football?
I made some good coin on...
There were some upsets today.
Yeah, Kent State made me some coin. Somebody else made me some coin. Another weird school.
You take Marshall?
Oh, I took... wow, Nebraska ended up losing that game. Amazing. I took Georgia Southern. But
Frost is on the hot seat.
I took their spread. I didn't take their money line. I'm a coward. Scott Frost is gone. If he's not fired by the end of the week, I'm going to be shocked. They are
so
0-3. Where did I make coin? Oh, Toledo. Toledo covered 28.5 against UMass.
Maction.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you.
Speaking of Maction, UB, like I said at the beginning of the show, got beat on a Hail Mary as time expired by
It was
Holy
a
Cross.
filthy Hail Mary, too.
I mean, if by filthy you mean it's disgusting for UB because they had 5 defenders surrounding one receiver, and the receiver just went up and simply caught the football.
It's simply better than they are.
But yeah, I'm saving my money for tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow is
100%.
Dude.
Getting ready.
I literally, I forgot. I can't. Oh my God. I just got so fucking pumped.
The NFL.
Football's tomorrow?
Yeah,
NFL's back, baby.
I also forgot that I have to be at Westgate tomorrow at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm excited because I get to watch a full day of football without caring. Like, obviously, other than the Cardinals, like, Bills done did their thing.
That is a crazy stat.
Yeah, Joe in the chat. Nebraska's last 13 losses, all by no more than 9 points.
Yeah,
You know what that feels like? Feels like the Chargers, unfortunately.
I gave Totri the stat that since I think it's either 94 or 96, the Notre Dame has won 6 bowl games. You know how many Marshall's won?
Huh?
6. You know how many Rutgers has won?
How many Rutgers?
Yeah.
7.
12. It's either 12 or 9. I don't remember the exact numbers, but again, yeah, the Totri is a fair point. Notre Dame was playing in a lot of national championships and college football playoffs, so it's a little different. Marshall's
I don't think Marshall
would
would
the Cheez-It Bowl, but
Marshall's not gonna go toe to toe with Alabama. But I don't think Notre Dame's going toe to toe with anybody this year.
Yeah.
But college football week 2 is over or is just about over. But yes,
it's not.
It's just about over. No,
I mean,
you baby.
Oh yay!
You know what's going on there? Michigan is winning 49-10 in Hawaii. Baylor up 6-3 on BYU early at halftime, basically 17 seconds.
U of A down 12-7. Mississippi State has the ball on in the red zone.
Oh,
gotcha. Well,
he scored.
Save your money for NFL football. DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking fans up right now. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. And as an added bonus for week 1, everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. Download DraftKings Sportsbook. Use promo code PHNX and bet on an NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. That's promo code PHNX on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for
settle for a field goal.
more details.
Sorry for interrupting that.
It is okay.
Very important part.
It is. It is a very important part.
Age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for more details.
There you go.
Clean.
I appreciate it.
So I know this isn't exactly the order of the rundown, but I did just want to, I kind of feel like we need to, well, actually, we'll go with aftertaste first, and then we can start getting into what I was going to say. So
okay. Yeah. I mean, what is the aftertaste?
Come on.
No, I don't got anything sus today. No.
We need it.
Sean.
Why do you got to single me out?
I just want you took a sip of this game. You're swishing it around. Okay, it's hitting your uvula in the back there.
Okay, there it is.
What's it taste like, man?
I don't know. Like,
don't we have a graphic for this?
Yeah, I don't think it's in there because I ill-prepared David.
Oh, poor David.
I can
David is the Herm Edwards, or Shade is the Herm Edwards to David's ASU's defense and offense. Man. And honestly, special teams. The special teams was not good either. That's something we didn't even talk about. Aftertaste, like a hot water that's been sitting in your car.
Ugh.
Like you go out to your car, you walk to your car and it's hot and you really need water, and then you get in there and there's some water there, but it's hot and it's like I needed it, and it's like I guess better than nothing, but also I really didn't.
Not great.
Could have been better for sure.
Yeah. You're still thirsty.
Yeah. I could have got a water somewhere else, put myself in a better position to succeed here.
That's a good
but
oh, God.
fucking died.
Almost choked on my water. That's cold.
Yeah, just a nice hot car water.
Yeah. Ew. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh,
That
God.
is pretty good. You can go ahead and put that on the screen. The ISU aftertaste. Mine tastes like a flat beer. It's still gonna get me to where I need to be, and it's still gonna give me a little buzz and elation, but it doesn't taste great. Honestly, probably 2 weeks down the road, should have drank a different beer. Probably should have done that a little bit differently.
Okay.
But at the time, what had to be done was done.
Okay.
And I think they found a lot of good things out of this game, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I'm gonna go with a Four Loko.
You used that like 3 times now.
I haven't. I've never used a Four Loko
Swear
before.
you have.
But it's like you're excited for it. At the start of the night, you're like, okay, we're gonna do some shit, and you take your first couple sips. You're like, okay,
You're jacked. You're like,
this is gonna be electric.
This is gonna be a good night.
And
Drinking the Four Loko is gonna be a good night.
You get halfway there, and you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah. You wake up in a bush, and you're like, oh my god, what is happening?
You guys ever done a slammer?
No, I've never done a sidewalk slammer. You don't know what a sidewalk slammer is?
It's when you pour out a Cobra or any malt liquor, like a big 40-ounce Cobra. You pour out half of it and then pour Four Loko in it. Yeah. I've done that a couple times.
The last time I had Four Loko was
Pretty awful.
Call it a sidewalk slammer because
last time I had Four Loko was my junior year of college undergrad.
Yeah, I have not had Four Loko.
Was going to a Future concert. Did not make it to the Future concert.
You want to put Joe's comment up there? Joe says the game tastes like a beer that's half full that's been on the side of the pool for 30 minutes on a 100-degree day.
Yeah, you're not gonna open another beer. Like you still gotta finish this beer, right?
But you don't want
halfway
to.
through it, you're like, I really would just want to move on to the
next
beer that was brewed in Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
It's a much better beer. It's a lot
imported
easier.
from Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
It's gonna go down easier. It's gonna taste better. It's cold. No, 100%. Let's get to the lyric of the game. Why don't we?
Well,
let's see what you've got cooked up for us.
Once again, don't have a jingle yet. I was gonna make one this week. I'm just so busy. We'll make one. Shawn, you want to serenade with me? Lyric of the game. Thanks. Today's lyric of the game comes from the one and only beautiful Rihanna. We found love. The name of the song. We found love in a hopeless place. I'm not gonna sing today just because.
In a hopeless place.
We found love in a hopeless place. It's pretty good, huh? But genuinely, it was that second half kind of felt hopeless, and I dug deep and found love for this team because, look, ASU Twitter is he's
gonna get into something here.
A deep void of dark.
You ready?
Sad,
because this is gonna be something.
Just pity and woe is
Keep your hands and feet inside the ride.
Yeah, I got you.
If you haven't been paying attention to this team, please don't talk about it. If you're a fan that just went to ASU and logs on to twitter.com and sees the score of ASU football, and you're like, oh, there is no future for this team. Herm Edwards needs to be fired, which, sure.
That's true.
But if you want to sit there and tweet every couple weeks about ASU football and just say, this is such a sorry-ass team, then you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. Because sure, that's to some extent we can just be, biased, optimistic, whatever, blindly optimistic about this team. Sure, I get that. But if you think that this team was embarrassing tonight, you have no idea what you're talking about. The penalties, sure, that's embarrassing. That sucks. The individual talent on this team is far from that. The individual talent on this team is high. The ceiling on this team is high. This is still a team that, for me, if you know football, looks like they can contend for a significant bowl game. Like, sure, it might be the Sun Bowl again. It might be a New Year's Eve bowl, but it isn't hopeless.
He is. He's 100% doing that. Joe in the
planting
chat.
his flag. I told you so in November.
Yes,
Shout out Martin Jackson.
Thank you, Joe.
I mean,
but genuinely, it just makes me so upset. It's a pit of depression when you go on ASU Twitter, and it was confusing to me tonight because some plays were bad and some shitty stuff happened, but it was like the world was falling. This wasn't NAU. This was Oklahoma State. This was a good team.
And obviously, I'm not going to go out and name names, but there was the particular time in the game that some of the tweets that we saw it was like we're not really it's not.
Like if you're going to send
the game's not over.
Yeah.
It's like,
and if it's about the penalties and the discipline, that's fine.
Yeah.
I if you're just tweeting about that, sure, that is inexcusable and upsetting. But to say this team has no future is just, I hate it. It sucks.
Yeah.
And it sucks for there's some people on this platform that just root against this team to get Ray Anderson fired. And one, it's not going to happen. And two, it's just such a sorry thing to do. These are collegiate athletes that are trying to make something of themselves. And it just pisses me off because they deserve better than fans like you.
Yeah, Diego in the chat, I was disgusted when I watched the Cards play the Rams in last year's playoffs. I wasn't disgusted watching this game.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is not... The world is not ending.
It is the second game of the season, folks.
And it's a fucking Oklahoma State. They were an inch away from the college football playoff last year with the same goddamn quarterback.
And a lot of the same defensive
This is exactly how I feel. Joe saying ASU football has turned into politics, ride or die with the side you pick, no matter what. That is what it is. Nobody hears anything. Nobody hears anything from the other side. That is just how it is.
It's like what this was like to me is like, well, I don't necessarily know what this is like because I don't have a kid. But what this is like is it feels like if I were a parent and I dropped off my kid to like the second grade or like first grade, and
Totri has a secret family for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
And it's the Prince of Persia.
It's
Anthony Totri,
a great child, right? Like super like
now the story's unrealistic.
super friendly. Like,
why are you calling it? Like it's a great child. It's super friendly.
Sure, it's my son. Sure, he's great. He is super responsible. Like he's got great manners and all that.
What's his name?
Jeff.
No, it's definitely Anthony Totri Jr.
No, it is not. I don't have a junior. Sure, I'm gonna call him
Anthony Totri the second.
No,
sure,
his name
Junior.
is Junior.
Yeah, just Junior.
Junior Totri.
Yeah.
That's
So,
literally his first
Junior
name.
Totri.
Junior he's a phenomenal kid. Okay, first grade, like gets good grades and everything.
Good for him.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like you send him to school, and you're like, okay, this is gonna be awesome. He's gonna have a great time, whatever. And you get a call. You're like, oh no, what happened? Like, why am I getting a call from the teacher? Teacher says, Junior's been acting up in class. I had to move his popsicle stick from green to yellow from Monday to Tuesday. He's got a yellow. You're like, okay, it's just a yellow. I'll have a talk with him. Junior comes home. You talk to him. You're like, hey, Junior, like, what's going on? Like, all this stuff. He's like, oh, I really don't know what's going on. Okay, next day you get a call. It's Junior's teacher again.
So
this is
I don't know where we're going.
You go from your yellow popsicle stick to your red popsicle stick now. What are we doing? So you're really disappointed in Junior because Junior's a great kid
and he has room to grow.
Exactly. Like we're just starting school,
and
buddy.
You know what? It might be the teacher's fault.
It might be the teacher's fault.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that, but it might be. Miss Anderson, what the fuck are you doing in Junior? I didn't even think
Edwards.
And the TA, Mr. Edwards.
It reminds me, I don't know why, like if you
the teacher might be an animorph.
A real
No, the principal might be an animorph.
Okay.
Michael Crow's an animorph.
But that's what this was like to me. Long story short,
very long.
I don't have a son named Junior.
What it reminds me of, like thinking about like this 2 games so far is I was a very smart kid growing up for the most part. Very smart kid, got very good grades. But
like
then,
Junior.
But then I got to 7th grade and I got put forward in science. I took advanced biology. Was not prepared for that.
Yeah.
Or even in high school when I took AP chemistry. Was not prepared for that. Still a smart kid, got good grades otherwise, but I got to AP chemistry and I did not know what the fuck I was doing. Like it was just a higher level. It was just a higher level of, and it's the same teacher that just taught me chemistry is now teaching me AP chemistry. Don't you think you should have higher qualifications for this? Like what? Like I just was not prepared. It's a higher level of difficulty, and I just got to know what I am. I tried my hardest, and sometimes maybe I didn't study as hard as I should have. Maybe sometimes but
you shot yourself in the foot sometimes.
I shot myself in the foot sometimes because it was just another thing that we haven't even talked about is they were playing in a packed Stillwater. Like that at the beginning of the game, in the rain too. And at the beginning of the game, I made a comment that stadium was loud. Yeah. Like which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the penalties. But.
Oh fucking no, Joe.
On the veil of Onondaga.
Joe
I messed up already.
Joe in the chat. The biggest takeaway from today is that Syracuse 2-0 would take Notre Dame 0-2.
Last thing I'll say on this before I stop being salty and talk about some good things. If ASU loses 34-17 or is in a battle with Eastern Michigan, then we can talk, friends of Twitter. But until then,
friends of Twitter,
please relax. Please. I don't Twitter fight, by the way. I hate it. I think it's stupid. I might make a snarky comment here and there, but I'll never go at somebody. Usually just laugh. So you might have been laughed at tonight if you were being dumb.
Thank you for not telling me to shut up.
I can confirm that you were probably laughed at because Shane did a lot of laughing tonight. But one of the bright spots of tonight is this is our first show in this studio, in the Tarasi studio. It is a phenomenal...
GOAT!
Yes, it is a phenomenal studio. And a lot of it has to do with our friends at More Furniture. you guys should check them out at morefurniture.com. I know you guys can only see this, but my God, the rest of this office is absolutely
You'll be able to see
insane.
it.
You'll get an inside look.
Ooh, Monday, inside look.
Monday.
Or is there a sale?
No, it's a monster truck rally.
Yeah, come
Okay.
on, Toji.
Okay. My apologies. But definitely check out morefurniture.com. They can hook you up with some great stuff. Any final thoughts, sir?
Cosmot submission or got a Darce choke submission on Kevin
Yeah,
Holland
well, he's a fucking coward.
2 minutes into
He's a
the
fucking
fight.
coward. He was ducking Nate Diaz.
Yeah,
Okay.
but still.
College football is electric. By the way, I know we touched on it a little bit earlier, but like,
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Appalachian State is just all they do is win games that they're not supposed to.
Or
Tennessee,
10 games.
look out. The Vols, they're solid. Not going to matter because
The
they're
Billy
in the SEC.
Napier train lasted for a solid week.
Yeah, Florida lost.
Damn, dude,
Yeah.
that is crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That team
dude,
looks so good. I was so
Yeah,
high.
I said it
You
to,
did.
to Shawn. I'm like, it's the perfect time for Kentucky to just beat him because everybody's
That's
riding the
wrong.
Florida train.
Kentucky is
I'm a coward.
good. Kentucky might win the national championship this year only to spite John Calipari for saying that they're
No,
that they're not a football
Duke
school.
might, despite Krzyzewski.
No, but like Calipari had that whole he was beefing
Yeah.
with the football coach because he said it's not a football school, it's a basketball school no matter what. I would love Kentucky to win the national championship. That'd be the funniest thing of all time.
Kentucky football is more relevant than Kentucky basketball right now,
I mean, yeah,
I would say.
yeah.
Any final thoughts on the game that took place in Stillwater?
Positive takeaways from me. First of all, Emory Jones looked good. We already talked about that.
Especially when
So-
he was given the
Yeah,
opportunity. to
when
win.
he was given
I'm
the
sure
chance.
they will go to the drawing board and say we should throw the ball more. Hopefully, and you will never play against. This will be the best defensive line you play against all year. That is the most
Yeah.
positive thing you can take away from.
But don't watch out. Rest of Pac-12.
Don't
Had
don't
some-
go out here being
Also, Stanford not going to upset USC.
Yes.
USC
looks
pretty
very
good.
good. Their offense looks really good. Their defense
Yeah,
is
that's what I've been saying this whole time, and why Utah is still my top team in the conference. Colorado's been relegated to the Mountain West.
Washington
Air Force
State,
has been promoted.
Yep.
dub.
Good.
Beat
Michael
Wisconsin.
Penix
Washington,
Jr.
dub.
Michael Penix Jr. Baller. Washington is good. The Bo Nix, I think, is the worst quarterback in
Junior
the
Totri,
PNW.
dog.
He is a dog when
Well,
but only when his
when he's-
popsicle stick
yeah,
is
when
on
he's
green.
behaving.
Yeah.
When
When he
Miss
tries.
Anderson don't fuck around and
Yeah.
I think I got my
You
card
gotta give him
flipped
the
like
opportunity
once
to
in my
succeed.
life.
Huh?
I think I got my card flipped like once in my life.
I got so we did lights, yellow light, red
Yeah.
light. I got a couple yellow lights for just talking. I got a red light once for
Uh-oh.
hit a kid in the stomach when I was like 9.
what
I
is
got,
he doing?
I
What are
got
you doing?
one
Punching?
detention in my entire life.
You got one detention in your life?
Yeah, entire
Damn.
life. I heel clicked off of
So-
a stage at a church.
Not
Uh-oh.
beating Oklahoma State. Does that make this a mediocre season, guys?
I knew the moment I saw this
I'm just-
comment
I
that
mean,
he was going to
I'm,
say
I'm not
something.
angry. I'm just like, it's a question.
No, not at all. This is
Listen.
a top 12 team in the country. ASU is not built to beat this team with this coaching staff.
If you drop one to Cal, sure.
yeah.
If you
Or
lose to
Colorado. If you
then-
lose to Colorado,
then it's a
pack it
hellfire.
up.
Speaking of Colorado, this is why things can always be worse. This tweet comes courtesy of RK Ryan from DNVR. He tweeted, "Normal people sat on their couch comfortably today and enjoyed some beverages while watching good college football games. I and many others drove an hour to stand in the pouring rain and watch our team predictably get their asses kicked. We all need to seek help. Things can always be worse."
Yeah, is it better though to know what you're getting yourself into as opposed to being one of these teams like at Notre Dame and driving and being like,
Yes.
oh, and I got
I've always said this. We've talked about this at the start of the year. Would you rather know you're going to go 6-6 or have the opportunity to go 8-4? I would not rather go 6-6.
like knowing you're going to go 6 and 6.
Knowing you can only go 6-6.
no. I'm talking on an individual basis though.
He's talking. Would you rather
Would
be
you
ASU
rather
or Colorado?
Like, no, I'm saying would you rather drive to a game and be like, we're Colorado, we're gonna get shit pumped by Air Force, or would you rather drive to a game and be like, we're Notre Dame, we're gonna win, and then not fucking win?
Oh well, yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
that's
you'd
what I'm
rather be
saying.
Notre
Definitely
Dame.
the former. Definitely the former.
Yeah.
Colorado sucks.
This could be their only loss this year. Like, I don't,
ASU.
yeah,
Wait,
it
I think
could-
we need to.
I'm just saying, like,
Joe being a very positive person, we could still win the pack.
Theoretically,
My
you
point
are not
exactly.
wrong.
listen, ASU when ASU plays USC, it'll be the best defense that USC has played. A, B. USC's defense is not great. Like we just said, it's not great. If they let Emory spread his wings and Xavier just keeps being Xavier, and maybe mixing a little Ngata, whatever, like however they do it, like that is it. That game A, I'm probably taking the over on.
Yeah.
B, could be good. You don't know yet. You just don't, like, they competed with this team.
And it's, like we said, just the second game of the season. There are
Facts.
plenty of opportunities for
We could have played
ASU.
Fordham today.
Yeah. Plenty of opportunities for ASU
Samford.
to make some noise nationally and in the conference. Two of their next 3 games are against ranked teams. Obviously, Utah stomped the shit out of Southern Utah today. And then USC, obviously. I don't know what the final was, but USC was kicking the shit out of Samford.
Bad look for Oregon that Samford scored the same number of touchdowns and gave up less points to Georgia. Bad look for Oregon.
USC won 41-28.
Yeah. I know Caleb
Defense,
Williams
bro.
at one point.
Stanford's not doesn't.
Caleb Williams 341, 20 for 27, 4 tutties, no interceptions.
Yeah, he's a good football player.
Yeah, 3 touchdown
They
passes
have
in
a
the first
very,
quarter.
very good offense.
One of the best offenses in the nation.
Yeah.
So it is going to be tough.
Mr. Jordan Addison, can you guess the stat line? 7 receptions. How many yards?
193.
100. Can I go over?
Sure.
194.
172.
Damn.
2 touchdowns.
Try the prices right.
Yeah,
you
They
coach.
had a quarterback pass for over 340 yards. They had a running back rush for over 100
That
yards.
defense is not
And they had a
good.
receiver go for 100.
And I'm taking ASU's offense over Stanford. Listen, you're gonna sit here and be like, oh, mediocre season. They could beat USC, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Utah's not going to be fun though. As
Utah
Charles
might
says in
not
the
be
chat.
fun, but it's here, right?
I believe
fucking hope so.
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure it's here because
Yeah,
if they
it
had to
is
go to
here.
Salt Lake,
Yeah.
then
It is here.
Yeah. Utah
and at
scored
least we're
73
not
points.
Scott Frost. If you told me right now you
Yeah.
choose between having Herm Edwards as your head coach for the rest of your life or Scott Frost as your head coach for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
I'm picking Herm Edwards
Yeah.
11 times out of 10. Could be worse.
I would much rather play at home against Utah and then on the road against USC than the other way.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Hey.
Who gives a fuck about
All I
Coliseum?
know is that ASU
Motherfuckers
fans
in LA don't
need to
got it like
pack that fucking Sun Devil Stadium
They're gonna say
like
pack a
nobody's
lunch or something. I was just like,
pack a lunch. Yeah, for Junior.
I'm going to start telling people.
my favorite is take a lap. Take a lap, bud.
Okay.
Oh, true.
What?
Utah hasn't played in Tempe in September in years.
Okay, well,
Ooh,
pack
good
Sun Devil
facts.
Stadium.
It's going to be
Cameron
hot.
Rising.
Pack Sun Devil Stadium, and you can do
Temperature?
so. You could do
Cameron
so
Rising temperature.
with Game Time.
Yeah.
Game Time is the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. Save up to 60% on tickets when you buy tickets last minute. It's great for you procrastinators out there. If you love PHNX, then you are going to love Game Time. The best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. Again, the best way to support us. Buy your tickets through the link
Fellas,
in the description.
guess how much you can get a ticket for.
For what?
For the
day?
To the Eastern.
$10.
Oh, for Eastern Michigan?
Yeah.
$8.
6. Fucking $6.
$6. Do it right now. If you don't have your ticket right now, literally go to the link in the description, click on it, say open new tab, right? Because you don't want to leave this one. But open new tab, get your $6 ticket. Like, what are you doing?
You can be in the lower bowl for 15.
If you provide photo evidence that you bought your ticket on Game Time using our link for the Eastern Michigan game or for any future games, DM me on Twitter, buy a beer.
Oh, hell yeah.
Buy 2 beers.
Really?
Buy 2 beers.
Wow.
And I'll drink my own with you.
That's money you
So
would
you'll buy
what-
3 beers, but 2 for that one.
Literally,
for you.
I think if you buy 3 beers at a football game, you could have bought 6 tickets to a
Probably.
ASU game
Again.
on Game Time.
Do it. The link in the description. Again, I know it was a walk of shame, but like we should still be, I feel like there is a lot to be excited
I mean,
about.
let's be real. A walk of shame usually implies that something good happened before it. Like
Something good did happen.
that's what I'm saying.
They kicked a field goal at the start of the game where they led this game. That
All
was
They
that-
it.
did.
all I'm
ASU
saying
led
is-
Oklahoma State. We're national
We're
championship
almost a
contenders.
full quarter.
Yeah.
Attaboy. Hey, it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you again if you were at the watch party as well. If you enjoyed the content, you can give us a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils on social. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow my son, Junior Totri, at Junior_Totri.
No, you can't.
You can follow Shane at Shane Deef. You can follow Sean DePaz at
Hold on one
Sean_DePaz.
second.
We're going to be in the
Pause.
trenches for a second.
1 second, actually. There's one thing that I wanted to bring up. The mouse died.
The mouse
The
died.
mouse died. So
okay.
you have me and Totri for a good minute probably before we're out of here. Do you have any joke? I have a joke.
Oh, God.
So there
okay.
was this moth, right?
moth.
There was this moth.
Like the flying
yeah,
bug?
there was this moth. Don't leave yet, guys. There was this moth,
That's a joke, apparently.
and he was really sad.
Yes.
He was going through it, struggling. His wife just divorced him.
Holy hell.
he was talking to all of his moth friends and saying, I'm not moth happy, I'm moth sad.
Oh, okay.
And it just stuff wasn't going well.
Can I tell? Oh, I
mean, you still,
were you rambling?
No,
or was it
this is a
somewhere
real
else?
joke.
Okay.
Things
Oh,
weren't
it's a joke. I thought this was like a life
No,
thing.
things weren't going well in his moth life. So he tries to rekindle things with his moth ex-wife, and nothing works. And just down in the dumps. You know, he didn't get this promotion he wanted at his job, so he ended up quitting. And he kind of like lost himself a little bit because he didn't know if he wanted to, you know, move out of the city that he lived in with his moth kids and his moth wife because
he's got kids.
She took the moth kids.
Wow.
And things just didn't really go well for the Mothman. So the Mothman decides to go to a therapist. You know, check on his mental health, which is always a good thing. And he goes to the moth therapist, talks it out, really helps him, you know, kind of clear his mind, thinks he's going to get back on track. So she was like, this has been a good session. Like, where'd you hear about us? Did a friend refer you?
And the therapist says this?
Yeah. And he goes, no, the light was on. Thank you for tuning in to the PHNX Sun post-game show. We'll be back next week.
I just have to say one thing real quick. Did you see what the fucking Delaware receiver did? The most out-of-pocket shit of all time?
No.
When they were playing Navy and they scored, and then he saluted to the Navy crowd.
Last week.
Was it last week?
Yeah, it was last week.
But still.
Thank you you ruined my great outro. Thanks
Well,
for tuning
I didn't
in.
get to say my thing.
Wait, follow Shawn.
Wait, there's another
Pause
thing?
at
I
Shawn.
didn't get to do my.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wait, you got a joke too?
No, I'm saying this is what you want on the same
Okay,
page.
follow Shawn to pause at Shawn _ to pause.
Wait,
What?
it's not working.
Oh man.
Can I go help David?
You can go help David. You want to tell your joke? No, you don't want to tell your joke?
This is a shit show. I mean, this is a microcosm of the ASU game, right? Started out strong. We're strong. We were in it. We were in it. We had the potential to finish the game.
Now
strong.
David's committing penalties.
But now David just pushed Spencer for no reason, and now it's 15 yards. Yeah.
You didn't have a joke though?
I didn't have a joke. I didn't really even have like as always. I need to be more prepared for these. I need you guys to start.
What are you doing? It's like an everyday thing.
I need you guys to start. Joe just hold the power button. I need you guys to start reminding me.
Just turn it off.
Start reminding me to.
Why?
Come up
It's an everyday thing.
Yeah, but I don't think about it. I got other things to do.
You can't think of like.
All right, I'm ending the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, Toter, anything else?
Goodbye.
Bye as always.